Hey guys, today I want to look at a new product I've come across called pipedream.com. It's much like Zapier or make.com, and it lets you do API processes in a lot of the same way you can do with Zapier and make.com. But the one key difference is it does treat code like Node.js as a first class citizen, and you can go straight to the code. So a bit more developer friendly version of Zapier or make.com. So let's dive into a project I set up here just to see if we could use it to distribute and order eSIMs with any kind of e-commerce platform. So I've made a demo project here, and let's go through what I was able to create. So you'll notice it still has the concept of triggers and webhooks, requests, delays. So let's go through each of the steps. So it's easier to see here if we look at an edit view. So let's just look at the overall project here in edit view. Basically what I'm doing is I am receiving a webhook based on a Shopify order. And what I want to do after the order is fulfill the order by sending an eSIM. So the first step is the trigger, and Pipedream helps create your webhook endpoint. They make it real easy right here. Basically that is what you would set with Shopify. And since I've run this already, you can see the resultant details from a webhook gets loaded up here on our first step. Now, unlike make.com, Pipedream does not automatically pass the variables, so we need this next step here. And here they make it pretty clear that if you want to pass these variables, you need to add this steps step. So that's added here, and I think all that is doing is just passing the variables we've received here in the trigger step. The next step here is where we work with eSIM access. So the first thing I like to do is just check to see if we have any balance. So that's really easily done with this test step here, and we can run a quick test. If we look at the value, we see a balance. So that means that our API has worked. So let me quickly go in on setting up the API. In this particular post, we don't have any need for a body. We just make a simple request. But authenticating, I've done it this way. There might be other ways to do it, but there is an ability in the settings to set a variable that is your access code. So this works like an API key in the header using this header name and this header value. These are the options available, and so that's what I've used. It might not be perfect, but it does work. So here's my endpoint for the balance query. There's the headers, and we don't have any body here. We just got our result here, and you'll see this right here, copy path and copy value. So copy value would just grab this number, but copy path is the variable that we could use in our next section. So if I copy that, and then what I want to do here is just, I want to do a little check to see if we have enough balance. So I've just put in the variable here, and I'll just paste what we got from the last step. So that was the variable from this step, the balance, and then I want to make sure it's greater than this value here, and that should represent $5. There's the inputs. We'll run a test on that, and it just should come back with the same evaluation. And there it is. Okay, so now we know we have balance at eSIM access. The next step is coming over here, and here we will actually make the order. So here we actually do have a body, so you want to just make sure your content type is JSON. And so here I'm going to pass the step that I got from the Shopify right up here, and I'm going to pass the SKU. The value here is just going to be 1. So I'm going to pass the SKU, which is also the slug, and I'm also going to send the Shopify ID as the transaction ID. I don't know if we have loaded data for this case, but let's see what happens when we test. And it looks like we get something here. So this might have been the previous one, but that's exactly what we want to get. We want to get back an order number from eSIM access API. Okay, so then the next step is, again, we want to pass this variable. I haven't looked in too deeply, but I'm going to just use this method, the steps method, for passing the variable. We'll run that here, steps from step 1. Okay, this one we also want to use just to make sure we're actually getting our order. So I'm just going to give it a little delay of 30 seconds. So that's all this one does, and that was available in the options. So let's just show you where those options are. So if you click one of these, this plus symbol here, you have a list of all the apps that Pipedream works with. And so in this case, I used a delay. So you'll be able to find various products that you might be working with, say Stripe, for example. Okay, so then after the delay, what we want to do is we want to get that eSIM. So we have a JSON body here, and we basically just need to pass through that order number that we had from the order sim step. And in that case, that's all we need in this case here. And so let's take a look at, we have our exports right here, and let's just see if we're getting some. Yeah, so what we need is this eSIM list, and here we go. So we have an order number, we have the LPA string, which is what's contained in the QR code. And pretty much I've been using this as the deliverable, the short URL. So that's what we want to send off to an email. And so from here, you can do all kinds of things: email, SMS, update your Shopify or any platform order. I'm just using, for demonstration purposes, this email to self feature that's built right into Pipedream. And so this is going to send the Shopify order number here in the subject line. Here's a link to your new eSIM, is going to send that short URL. And down here, I'm just going to pass the, I guess this says customer ID. Let's just change this to, let's see if we can find order. Let's take this one. I mean, obviously, this looks like it's just a customer. Oh, that's the customer ID. Let's use this one. Let's assume this is the Shopify transaction ID. So we'll just grab that. I think it does say customer ID though. Let's see, we could do a test here. And email successfully sent. You might hear a little sound. Basically, that's the run through. So let's just, let's see what this looks like when we run it. So I'm just going to deploy this. I don't think we really made any changes. Okay, so this is our screen where we wait for a order to come through. So I've got an order queued up here. It's going to be for a Germany eSIM. So I'm going to fulfill that right this moment, and we'll see this process run. Okay, and there we go. We're receiving the post information. Basically, Shopify has just sent a payload of data to this webhook, and I believe we are, I think we can click into this one. Yeah, we can see that the workflow is paused. So we've run through all of this right now, and we are right here in this workflow delay. So let's just check the values as it's running here. Here's our Shopify details after they've been received. You can see the price, name. So let's see the thing that I am passing through, get line items. And then I want to pass through, there's the Germany product that I said was ordered. And that's really what we care about as far as we want to make our order with that. Okay, so just look for the DE1_1_7. Okay, so here we're saving those variables to be passed on. Here we are doing the balance check. Let's just see what the balance, there we retrieve the balance. Is it allowed to continue? Yes, this number is greater than this number. Okay, so now we want to go ahead and make that order. So there's our order, and that would be the Shopify transaction ID that got passed. So our eSIM access order ID and the Shopify order ID. Here again, we're using this step to pass the variables. Here we did the delay. Okay, and so here, if we imported the order number we got from the previous step, and so the result should be, if everything worked, it should be the eSIM payload. So let's look at what was exported here, and we want to look at the eSIM list. And sure enough, we have a full array of the eSIM payload details. So Germany 1 GB, here's the short URL, here's the QR code, image, and everything we need. So now here we're just sending that email off to ourselves, and let's pull up that and see what that looks like. And here's our email that we received. So we've got the order number from Shopify. That was a variable, if you remember that. Here was our short link, the deliverable. This is that order ID that I found. And so if the customer clicks on this, they get their QR code and all of their installation details. So Pipedream does make it quite easy to get set up. I think with this little demo, it took me about 2 hours to get to this point of making this video. I just wanted to do something briefly, mainly to show that this platform could be good for people that want to get up and running quickly using the eSIM Access API and delivering eSIMs with their own e-commerce platform. Hope that helps. See you on the next one.